Hey folks, this is Steelcowboy coming to you from Austin, Texas, and tonight I'm here with my mid 1960s Dunhill and my trusty Diet Lemonade, and we're going to talk about whether or not you're a pipe collector or a pipe smoker. And before we get into that, I'd like to always mention when I'm smoking, and tonight I'm smoking some Peter Stokkebye's Luxury Navy Flake. It's a vapor. Perique is added pretty lightly, but I do want to show you what's pretty cool. Look how dark that gets when it's about 10 years old. And so if you're familiar with this flake, you know it's a lighter tan in color. But aging really brings out that sweetness, that delicious flavor, and for an inexpensive flake, it really can't be beat. The only thing you have to be careful of is that because it's sold in bulk, when you get it from your local tobacco shop or an e-tailer, periodically those bulk tobaccos are not kept at the proper humidity level, and you do need humidity at the proper level in order to age it the way it should be aged. Dry tobacco will not age well at all. Also tonight, before we get into our conversation, I'm going to give my tobacco shout out, and what I'm smoking tonight is a new blend from Dan Tobacco called Roper's Roundels, and it looks very, very similar to Stokkebye's Bullseye Flake or Davidoff Flake medallions. It's a minor irritation, but it bothers me when people compare it to a Scudo and Deluxe Navy rolls from Dunhill, as neither one of those blends contain Cavendish or have a Cavendish center. My general feelings on this tobacco are this is sweet. There's some definite added sweet topping to it, probably in the citrus realm, although not like a Orlik Golden Slice. It does give me a little tingle on the tongue. It doesn't bite, but it'll burn a little warm. The only quibble I have with this blend is that it is expensive as it relates to Stokkebye and the other blends in that genre. I really wish that Dan made the option to buy a 50-gram tin. It only comes in a 100-gram tin, and it's priced accordingly for that. So I think it gave me pause in terms of whether or not I was wanting to spend the money and take the chance. I do find it a little softer around the edges than Stokkebye's, but it wouldn't be at the very, very top of my list. But it's still worth a try if you want to shell out your $22 or so for what the e-tailers are currently getting for it. Anyways, the question tonight: are you a smoker or are you a collector? And you know, this is not a question that I invented. It's been around a long time, but I think it's an important question because it drives behavior. And for me, I needed to ponder that for a while, because my first reaction is probably like your first reaction. I'm both. And you know, they say that if you own more than one pipe, you're a collector. And probably most of you, if you're watching a pipe video on YouTube, are collectors, because you probably own more than one pipe. But I needed to examine that for myself. And here's why. Yes, I am both. But before I retired, I was making a decent living and could afford to go out and buy a pipe that was fairly expensive. And as I've mentioned, I smoke everything from cobs to low end to high end. I'm a blast baby, so a lot of my pipes are blast. I like a really well-defined blast. But when I retired, I needed to start to think about, you know, what am I really in this deal for? And even if I spent a lot of money on an L-Tang or a Grachukin or something along those lines, I never was a guy that looked at my pipe and went, oh, look at those incredible lines. Oh, you know, and I just, the way he just did that little odd touch on the shaping and ooh and on. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's people that's what turns them on, and that's the great thing about our hobby, and they should never be disparaged for it. But at the same time, for me, I bought what I liked. And I liked it because I thought it looked cool. I didn't sit down like I was looking at a museum piece and say, gee, you know, the way the shadow hits this in a certain light just, you know, arouses my senses. It just didn't work for me. But as time went on, I had to face that question, because that question was driving the behavior that I was going to have moving forward. And for me, I came to the conclusion that while I'm both, primarily I'm a tobacco smoker, and I get more enjoyment from that than I do from collecting. Now, I get a lot of enjoyment from collecting as well, but it's secondary to me, and that's important, because for me, what I'm really interested in is a pipe that's going to give me the best possible smoke. Whether that's a pipe that my wife found at a flea market for 10 bucks, and I'm actually going to show you that in another video at some point, but or a pipe that I spent $500, $600, $700 on. The first thing that mattered the most to me is how it smoked. It's one of the reasons why I love cobs so much, because you pull that filter out of a cob and the draft is wide open, and there's a sweetness to it, and so for me, that's what drives it. I like trying blends, a lot of blends. And that's where I get my joy out of the hobby. You may get your joy from the lines on a pipe, and the tobacco, while you enjoy it very much, might be a little more secondary. And this is true whether you're on a tight budget or you have a wide budget. You can certainly decide between a pipe for $79 or a pipe for $150. So even if you're buying, you know, at the lower end of the spectrum, that choice still comes into play. And knowing who you are, convulsion moment, I gotta light my pipe. Knowing who you are, and the earlier you know it, the more your collection will develop in the way you want it to develop. If you're really into cellaring, maybe pipes that are more affordable that allow you the budget to go out and purchase tobaccos to cellar is the way to go. And for me personally, that dictates who I am as a pipe smoker. For you, you'll have to find your way. Anyway, we're going to keep that short tonight, but I just wanted to give you that thought to think about. It's Easter weekend. If you do celebrate the Easter holiday like I do, I hope you have a blessed and wonderful Easter. If you don't, I hope you have a wonderful and relaxing weekend. This is Steelcowboy from Austin, Texas.